Let me describe you. You've spent months studying, maybe years. You understand support and resistance. You can read a candlestick pattern without thinking. You know what an imbalance looks like. You understand risk-reward ratios. You've backtested your strategy. You've watched it work. You know this stuff. And yet, Monday morning comes. A setup forms that matches your plan perfectly. You enter. The trade goes your way. You're up 1R. And you close it. Not because your target was hit. Not because the structure changed. Because you were scared it would come back. The trade hits your original target an hour later. 2 days after that, you're in a losing trade. It's at your stop. Your rules say exit, but you move the stop. Let me give it a bit more room. It doubles the loss. You know the rules. You wrote them yourself. You've watched them work dozens of times. And you still broke them. Then comes the question. The one that shows up at midnight. The one that sits with you on the drive home. What is wrong with me? Not with the strategy. Not with the market. With you. Why can you read the chart correctly and still make the wrong decision? Why does knowledge not translate into action? Why are you smart enough to build a winning system but not consistent enough to trade it? Mark Douglas spent a lifetime on this question, and his answer was the same every time. The market is not your problem. Your mind is. Not your entry technique. Not your time frame. Not the broker, or the spread, or the news. Your mind. And here's the thing you need to understand about that answer. He wasn't insulting you. He was freeing you. Because if the market were the problem, you'd be helpless. The market isn't going to change for you. But your mind? Your mind is the one thing you can actually work on. Here's the lie that keeps traders stuck for years. I just need more discipline. You've said it. After every rule break. After every moved stop. After every time you took profit 20 pips before the target. Next time I'll be stronger. Next time I'll force myself to follow the rules. And you mean it. You genuinely mean it in that moment. But here's what Mark Douglas understood about willpower that nobody in trading talks about honestly. Willpower runs out. It is a finite resource. Every decision you make drains it slightly. Every temptation you resist costs you something. Every time you sit in a losing trade and force yourself not to move the stop, you spend a little more of it. And then the 6th test comes in the same session. Or the 3rd consecutive losing day comes. Or the drawdown stretches into the 3rd week. And the willpower tank is empty. And you break. Every single time. Because you were trying to override your beliefs with effort. And effort has a ceiling. Beliefs don't. Douglas used an analogy that I want you to sit with. If you truly believe that sticking your hand into an open flame will burn you, do you need willpower to stop yourself from doing it? No. You don't white-knuckle through the temptation to touch fire. You don't repeat affirmations about keeping your hands safe. You don't build a morning routine to reinforce the habit of not burning yourself. You just don't do it. Because your belief makes the action unthinkable. That is what consistency actually looks like. Not gritted teeth. Not forced discipline. Not a willpower battle you fight every single session. A belief so deeply held that breaking the rule becomes genuinely unthinkable. Now apply that to trading. If you truly believed, not intellectually, but in your gut, that moving your stop always leads to greater loss, would you need willpower to stop? No. You'd just stop. Because the belief would make the action feel as dangerous as touching fire. The reason you keep breaking rules isn't that you lack discipline. It's that you don't actually believe in your rules yet. Not fully. Not at the level where it sticks. Part of you still thinks you can manage the exception. Part of you still believes this time is different. Part of you hasn't fully accepted that the rule exists precisely for the moments when you most want to break it. That's the work. Not more willpower. Belief alignment. Here's the central conflict in your trading psychology. Your mind craves certainty. That's not a weakness. It's how humans are wired. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. Your brain is constantly trying to reduce it. And the market is pure uncertainty. Every single trade, every single candle, every single session. Nobody knows what happens next. Not the analyst on CNBC, not the hedge fund manager with 40 years of experience, not you, not anyone. And so your brain, desperate for certainty, tries to manufacture it. It overanalyzes the setup. It looks for more confirmation. It waits for just one more signal. It tries to find certainty in a place that literally cannot provide it. And when the trade goes against you, your brain doubles down. If I just hold a bit longer, it'll come back. That's not patience. That's your brain trying to avoid the certainty of loss by staying in the uncertainty of hope. Douglas identified the precise shift that fixes this. You stop trying to be certain about the market, and you become certain about yourself. Rigid rules, flexible expectations. You know exactly what you will do. At every point. In every scenario. If price hits this level, you enter. If price hits your stop, you exit. If price hits your target, you take profit. Those are rigid. Non-negotiable. The same every time. But what price will actually do? Completely open. Completely uncertain. Completely flexible in your mind. You don't know if this trade will win. You don't need to know. You only need to know what you will do. And that's where the consistency lives. Not in predicting correctly. In responding correctly. Every time. Here's the test most traders fail. They judge their strategy after one trade. The last trade lost? The strategy doesn't work. The last trade won? This is the best system I've ever seen. One trade. One data point. Massive conclusion. An amateur judges the strategy by the last trade. A professional judges the strategy by the last 100 trades. Because a professional understands something the amateur doesn't. Any strategy with a genuine edge will have losing trades. Some of those losing trades will come in clusters. Those clusters are not evidence the strategy is broken. They are evidence that randomness is doing exactly what randomness does. Faith in the process means executing your rules on trade 51 the same way you executed them on trade 1. Not because you're certain trade 51 will win, but because you're certain that your execution over the next 100 trades will produce the result your edge promises. That faith is not blind. It's earned. Through backtesting, through forward testing, through evidence that your rules, followed consistently, produce an edge over time. But you'll never get to see that evidence if you abandon the rules every time the market tests them. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Consistency isn't something you do. It's something you are. There's a difference. Doing consistency means fighting yourself every session. White-knuckling through the urge to break the rules. Gritting your teeth and surviving another day without a major mistake. That approach is exhausting. It has an expiration date. And it never really sticks. Being consistent means the rules are so embedded in your identity that breaking them would feel wrong. Not just unprofitable. Wrong. Like lying when you think of yourself as honest. Like littering when you genuinely care about the environment. The behavior contradicts the identity. So it doesn't happen. Think about the casino. The casino is consistent. Not because it controls the roulette wheel. Not because it knows which number will hit next. Not because it forces the cards to fall in its favor. The casino is consistent because it trusts the edge. And trusting the edge makes the behavior automatic. The pit boss doesn't agonize over dealing the next hand. There's no willpower involved. No internal battle. He deals the cards, Because that's what the house does. Because the house has a process, and the process produces results over time, and that belief in the process makes every individual hand completely irrelevant. That is the identity you are building. Not a trader who forces themselves to follow rules. A trader for whom following rules is simply what they do. Because they are a rule follower. Because they have seen, through evidence, that the rules work. Because they understand that breaking the rules doesn't give them a better outcome. It gives them a worse identity. Stop trying to predict. Start executing. Stop trying to be right. Start being consistent. Those are two completely different games. And only one of them pays. I want to leave you with something Douglas said that I've seen change traders completely. Not a technique. Not a system. A sentence. The consistency you seek is in your mind, not in the market. Read that and notice what it means for how you've been spending your time. If you've been trying to find consistency by perfecting your entry, you're looking in the wrong place. If you've been trying to find consistency by changing your time frame, your instrument, your strategy, wrong place. If you've been trying to find consistency by adding more rules to your system, more filters, more criteria, still wrong. The consistency you are looking for does not live in the chart. It lives in you, in the beliefs you hold about what trading is, in the identity you've built around what kind of trader you are, in the moment-to-moment decisions you make when the rules are inconvenient. Because here's the thing about discipline that nobody explains correctly. Discipline isn't restriction. Discipline is freedom. The trader without discipline is a prisoner. Prisoner to their fear. Prisoner to their ego. Prisoner to every emotional impulse that fires when price moves against them. The trader with real discipline? Free. Free from the anxiety of not knowing what to do. Free from the second guessing. Free from the 2 a.m. regret sessions. Because they know exactly what they will do. In every scenario, before it happens, the market will always be uncertain. That will not change. Not for you. Not for anyone. Price will always do things you didn't predict. Setups will fail when they look perfect. Simple trades will become complex. The market will always find new ways to test your rules. That is the market simply expressing itself. It is not out to get you. It doesn't know you exist. It is just moving. Your job is not to make it predictable. Your job is to become certain in your ability to respond to it. That certainty is the only edge that compounds forever. That certainty is the only victory the market actually offers. Not the best prediction. Not the perfect entry. Not the brilliant read. The ability to follow your rules when it's hard. To take the loss cleanly. To hold the winner calmly. To pass on the trade that doesn't qualify. Again, and again, and again, until it isn't effort anymore. Until it's just who you are. The market will always be uncertain, but you can become certain in your ability to follow your rules. That is the only victory that matters.